Hey, 918ers, you got IT Geek here joining us tonight, and we've got a huge group here that is practicing somewhat of social distancing. And we got the Geek Boy, and we got Bruce Star. Say hi, guys.
Hello there.
Hey, guys.
And also joining us, we got Tarek. I don't know if he came up with a handle, but we welcome here with us.
Yeah.
And tonight, we are going to be talking about our virus-themed movies that we enjoy, and we hope you will chime in and give us some of your feedback. But of course, before we always jump into that, we've got to spread our cheddar here. We got to talk a little bit about what our page here. If you go to YouTube.com and give us a like, subscribe to it, and ring that bell so you can get notified anytime you're seeing anything. And of course, you can always find us here at facebook.com.live or whatever it's called. I've already been.
How much have you had to drink tonight?
You know what? There's no judgment here. I gotta kill that Corona with wine. So.
Damn.
So anyway. So guys,
if you can't drink during the end of the world under quarantine, then when can you drink?
Exactly.
All right.
Exactly. I mean, I think everybody's drinking at this point.
I don't see any reason why not to.
Exactly. Everybody, cheers up.
Mm-hmm. See what do you got there, Roostar?
Mike's Hard Lemonade.
Okay, there you go.
We got a little red Dino over here. Tarek, what you drinking tonight?
A little gin and juice.
A little gin and juice.
All right. He's on his money and his money on his mind.
That's right.
The end of the world.
So, all right, let's just jump into it. So the first movie that we're going to kind of talk about is, or actually the Zombieland franchise, which took forever between the two. So, so I'm going to throw it over to you guys. Bruce Star, what's your favorite moments about Zombieland, Zombieland 2? Give us some of your feedback.
Well, I like that it's got all the gore of a horror movie.
Yep.
But it's funny, so it's kind of weird in that fashion. And that most movies that have that kind of theme and that kind of gore and stuff are scary. Mm-hmm. So you kind of get crossed emotion, mixed emotion type thought about it. At least I do anyway. But it's funny. It brings a lightheartedness to what otherwise could be a pretty bleak and dismal outlook on an apocalypse. But I mean, it's overall it's pretty. I like them.
Yeah, I liked it as well. It had such a comedy value to it that you just don't normally see with like a zombie movie, in my personal opinion. I think it's actually the first time I ever saw Amber Heard in a role, so that was kind of an interesting little nugget there. But Jesse Eisenberg, Emma Stone, Abigail, and Woody Harrelson. So yeah, it was like. Oh, hey, we got, let's see here. Let's throw a shout out real quick. We got Tori's watching. We got Jay. We got Laura, Cindy, Wendy. And then, of course, we're all on here and everything. So welcome, everybody. Jay just came up with no judgments here.
I don't see my wife on there.
They're probably watching together.
Oh, okay.
They're probably watching together.
She's sitting next to Steph. Wait a minute.
She's sitting next to Steph.
Somebody better
They're
log
all
in.
watching with Tori, trying not to bog the interwebs.
Oh, that's true.
Okay.
Because the last thing you need here in the super secret fan cave is to get your interwebs bogged down.
Yeah.
Especially since we're on the apocalypse and all.
Yeah. Exactly. You got to ration. You got to ration the
internet.
The internet is almost as valuable as toilet paper in this day and age.
Well,
it's essential.
If you've been to the stores, you know that shit is valuable.
No pun intended.
Or was it?
I got an extra package today, but it cost me 2 kilos of cocaine and a gold brick from the Nazi horde from back in World War from the Reichstag.
It didn't cost you a donut?
Yeah.
No, it didn't cost me a donut. Yeah, I'm saving those.
Yeah.
Yeah, you gotta save those. So, Tarek, what's your input on Zombieland and everything? What did you like about it, or dislike about it, or whatever?
My favorite part was about Woody Harrelson was looking for that one thing that was making him happy.
Yep.
And I feel like if you were going through the zombie apocalypse, all the stuff that you go through is just so dismal and sad, but like everybody's going to be looking for their own Twinkie. And it doesn't have to be a Twinkie. It can be like something that represents the Twinkie.
Exactly.
So.
No, that's great. The whole quest for the Twinkies, and if I remember correctly, when the movie came out, wasn't Twinkies like stopped being made?
Yeah, they were.
So it was a huge comedy plug there that Twinkies were not around anymore, so that was hilarious. So, so John, if I remember correctly, you said you watched Zombieland the other day.
Yes,
what are your inputs there?
It'd been a long time since I'd seen it, actually, because I'm not as the chat goes on. I discovered when I was getting ready for this why I'm the Star Trek guy and the Orville guy and the space opera. I like my sci-fi to be kind of uplifting and positive. And so I've never been a big fan of like dystopian movies or post-apocalyptic and zombie movies. I guess kind of fall in that same category. So it's not really been my wheelhouse. But I did rewatch it. I enjoyed it. Enjoyed it as much as I did, maybe even more. The first, I almost felt like I was, laughing at my situation, at my current situation. And granted, we haven't. I will say this though, and I've shared this with you and maybe a couple other people. A lot of us are working remotely. We're having to deal with the situation as it is, and I just got to say, God dang, I didn't realize the end of the world was going to involve this much fucking paperwork. I just thought it would. I just thought there'd be a lot more jumping and shooting and fire and things. And so when I was watching it, the thing that struck me was two things, and I'm going to be kind of the social commentary guy about these types of movies. Is Zombieland to me? Tarek talked about the Twinkie, and Bruce talked about. It's a horror movie, but it's funny. To me, it's a story about the unleashing of the repressed. You got people like Jesse Eisenberg's character, who's really a repressed guy. Woody Harrelson, before he lost his one thing, was seemed like a very stand-up, kind of guy. And now they're in this world where, does it really matter that you're in a convenience store tearing everything up? Nobody cares. Who's going to come stop you? But in spite of all that, the other thing that struck me was as dark as the humor could get, or as sort of wicked as the humor could get, it was never mean spirited. There was nothing in Zombieland that was mean spirited. I mean,
except for clowns.
Well,
yeah.
I mean, you could put a bullet or a hole in through the chest of the greatest comedic actor of our age, and everybody just laughs about it. I mean,
Say, we got a few comments. I want to catch up. So first off, I just want to say that if you see the screen, you see that we've got our Facebook comment ticker back in there. We are seeing some that are not coming through, so we just want to do a shout out.
Lori St.
Clair Van Pool, thanks for joining in. Thanks for the comments. She says, "Hey guys, looking good. Stay well."
Thank you.
Laura came in with hashtag find Joe Twinkies. So that was hilarious.
That's great.
And then and Jay also came in with like 2 kilos, huh, John?
That's all it cost me.
All right, so
didn't have any donuts.
So yeah. So kind of going back to that whole comedy element of the of Zombieland. One thing I loved was the rules that Jesse Eisenberg's character came up with. And
yes,
they're always comedy to see it when it stamps on the screen and stuff. And so, we've got just a few of them there because I was looking for them, and there's actually a very large list. I mean, as you can see, there's probably, it refers to at least number 32, but on Zombieland 2, I think it was high as 37 or higher.
57.
I think it was 73 when that
that
blonde girl hit her head on a dash.
Okay.
Seatbelts.
See, I'm dyslexic, so I can't. My memory's all backwards too. So, so I guess I throw it out to everybody who's watching. If you've got a favorite rule, what is it? And then my favorite rule, I would say, is double tap. Now this is some service.
No,
the Twinkies are being delivered. This is how you do it. This is how you do it.
No, those are Twinkies, I think.
Okay.
Or are they donuts?
No, they're actual Twinkies.
Okay.
Damn. In Geek's America, the apocalypse is a little cushier over in Geek's America.
Yeah. That's true. Well,
not as thuggish as it is over here in North Broken Arrow.
So anyway, I like double tap. That was my favorite rule. I mean, being a military guy, that's it's always a rule of thumb: 2 to the chest, 1 to the head. So that's more of a double tap. But what do you guys? Do you have a favorite rule that you paid attention to in the movies, or?
Yeah, beware the bathrooms. That's
that
is a moment of extreme vulnerability.
Yeah.
That just you can't in a situation like that, and then in the movie they play it out so well. Where it comes up underneath the toilet seat or the stall door.
Yeah.
That's just pure horror to me.
Well, how many times have people just died sitting on the toilet?
I know.
You know what I'm saying?
Elvis died sitting on the toilet.
Exactly. So no, I agree. The bathroom rule is that's just pure terror. What's going on?
Here's the thing. I think part of it is for guys anyway. We don't like to be vulnerable anyway, and there's no more time when a guy is more vulnerable. I mean, not that women aren't, but for a man, you never feel more vulnerable in your life than when you're just sitting there on the toilet.
Well,
I can't believe we're having this conversation, but here we are. Mine would be belts.
How's it more of a situation for guys when girls are sitting down all the time? Are they just quicker to respond that way, or?
I guess I don't know. Can't believe we're actually having this conversation, but there we go.
So something going on?
Oh, okay.
My favorite rule was don't be a hero. Because somebody always tries to be the hero in the movies, and they always get trashed for doing it.
Yeah.
So
that's right.
It's like, don't do it. Just avoid the whole situation in general.
Jay just came back. That's some scary shit, Bruce Starr. Booty traps. Damn out evil Professor
autocorrect.
Correct. There you go. Autocorrect. There you go. See, I can't even read that crap. So, but anyway, so
you mean to put these on the screen for you?
I've got to start wearing 2 of them apparently, or I just got to.
You can probably see them if you push them towards the camera.
Push them toward the camera.
Man, everything's
hey, Gene, you just putting your hand over the microphone doesn't block the audio.
Oh, we got a cast picture here. Oh, look at them eating the Twinkies in front of us.
Yeah.
Look at that.
You guys should have had Twinkies.
Yep.
Got your Twinkie.
So, snowball.
Or a snowball.
No, thank you. I feel like Woody in that respect.
Yeah.
Before that thing over all those snowballs came out, man, I feel your pain there, Woody. What?
So, kind of going over the cast and everything like that. I mean, God, what was the time frame between the movies? I mean,
10 years.
Like 10
I
plus
think
years.
the first one came out in 09, the second one came out in 19, I think.
Yeah, there you go.
In movie time, was it about the same? You think? I don't think it was supposed to have been.
Because all right. So here's the cast photos between 2000, the Zombieland 2, and the first one and stuff. So
Abigail Breslin
looks like it's
the big giveaway.
Yeah.
Abigail. And Emma just got a better haircut, which I don't know where she found someone to style her hair different in Zombieland, but apparently hairstylists are still running around.
Yeah,
I like the difference between. I liked in the first movie, and then in the second movie, you got the clone copies of the Woody Harrelson character with Luke Wilson, Luke or Owen.
It was Luke Wilson.
Luke Wilson, yeah, that was pretty funny.
Who was the other guy that was doing that?
He's the guy that's on the Sprint commercial now.
Right.
But I can't think of. I don't know the actor's name.
I can't remember the actor's name either. So. Jay came back. Damn, I want to buy that Twinkie. See, you got to stock up on the Twinkies because especially now with the quarantines and stuff.
I traded my Twinkies for toilet paper. All right.
Well, that's why you just buy that's why you buy Krispy Kreme donuts.
Krispy Kreme donuts, yes.
And you can trade those in for anything.
Yeah.
They'll last forever.
They will because they're made of wax.
Yeah, they will.
Too bad there's not a picture of Rosario Dawson.
I think he may have one.
Oh, there we go.
So kind of
not that I enjoy looking at her or anything, but she's just a key element.
Watching.
Yeah. She's just a key element of the new movie.
Yeah.
That's all.
Exactly. I mean, she's great, and man, she's like in everything nowadays.
Yeah.
So the big drop, and Tarek, since you remembered it when we were talking earlier, what is this huge drop Rosario Dawson just got cast in?
So she was cast as Ahsoka for The Mandalorian Season 2, which, if those of you who don't know the character, Ahsoka was Anakin Skywalker's apprentice during the Clone Wars.
Yep.
So, spoiler alert, she didn't die in that duel with Darth Vader.
Right.
But,
if you watch Rebels, then you know she didn't die.
That's true.
Exactly. Hey, Katie Hines is watching.
Well, hello, my girl.
Katie.
But if you remember, like she's been in the Marvel Daredevil series, and then she carried that same role into Luke Cage, and I mean she's popping up in everything, which is fine with me.
She's got that new show on Netflix where she plays a lawyer, and it's pretty dark. It's like Breaking Bad dark.
Oh, really? I haven't seen that.
Yeah, she's tough. She plays a really tough person.
It's a Briar Patch, isn't it?
Yes, yeah, Briar, yeah.
Which isn't that the name from Jason Bourne, that division?
That's Blackbriar.
Blackbriar. Okay, so I haven't seen that series yet. When I saw that, I was like, "Wait, is that related to Jason Bourne?" But it seems to be the answer to that Stumptown with Colby Smulders and stuff.
Oh yeah,
but I think Rosario's show looks way better than Stumptown. So
I like the only draw for Stumptown to me is Colby herself. I mean, the show itself doesn't look that great, but I like her as an actress, and I always think she brings a lot of gravitas to whatever she does. So I do like her. But going back to Zombieland Double Tap again, I recently rewatched them both to get ready for this, and I liked a lot of the gags in Zombieland Double Tap. I just didn't think it was as good a movie, but I did like a lot of the gags. It didn't seem to have as much heart, especially toward the end when it turned into kind of more of a typical zombie, kill the zombie movie type thing. Whereas I don't know, I just felt Zombieland 1 was, of course, again, it's more original. We'd never seen anything like that before. Right. And like we said, it was not mean spirited at all. Yeah. Not that Zombieland 2 was, but
and all they did in order just to really have a new movie was to make the zombies a little tougher. The T-800s and the bolts.
The T-800.
Yeah.
Great. No, I agree. I enjoyed Zombieland 2, not as much as the first one. It just it didn't, like you said, it to me it just didn't have as much heart. They still have the comedy element. I think also is the time gap between the two of how long the movies came out. We wanted it for so long, and then it just seemed like it was never going to happen. And then all of a sudden, like, hey, it's happening, and we almost got to the point that we totally lost interest in it. And stuff.
Yeah, I franchises like that are a funny thing because a lot of people blame the flop of the Star Trek Kelvinverse on that it took too long to get the movies out, and all the momentum that each movie built up had kind of dissipated by the time the next one came out. But then again, you look at something like Bad Boys for Life.
Oh, I know.
17 years.
Yeah, but Bad Boys holds a little more special place in people's hearts than Zombieland.
Well, in Zombieland, Double Tap was not a flop.
No. Yeah, but it's I mean, whenever you're watching Bad Boys, it's like you're going back and revisiting old friends. I mean, these guys, Zombieland guys, I could like, hey, what's up, man? I mean, it's
You could run across them and it'd be like, hey, what's up, nod and move on. But I mean, Bad Boys for Life. That's us. I mean, we like I said, we've known each other 30 plus years or whatever by now.
Well, when if you're thinking about it too, like Bad Boys, like filled a gap that's been vacant in the movie industry for a long time. Yeah. We had Lethal Weapon, where we had buddy comedy movies, buddy cop movies for a while, and then they disappeared, and then we really didn't have anything for the longest time. Yep. So I feel like Bad Boys could like fill that gap in a better way than Zombieland could, because we've had zombie movies for the last 20, 30 years pretty consistently.
Well, and I
agree with that.
I would too, and that's probably why John Wick did so well, because it was. I mean, to us it was like, oh, it's a movie like this, but we hadn't had one of those kind of movies in a long time. I mean, that's a good
Derek
point.
hit on a really good point. Is that the whole cop buddy movie has been not very strong, prominent in the theaters, like it was in the 80s and early 90s.
Oh, yeah.
Like when we were seeing movies and stuff. It's kind of moved more to a TV series. I mean, if you think of Brooklyn Nine-Nine, you think about SVU, and
something like that.
Huh?
One of those three letters.
Well, KGB,
KGB,
RESBC, TT. I don't know. But so no, it's a great point to bring that up. That the Bad Boys 3 movie that recently came out really filled a hole that we haven't gotten in the theaters and everything.
Because the main appeal to me for Zombieland were the characters. I mean, even though Woody Harrelson is great in everything he's in, I don't necessarily like everything he makes. But you can always, I always consider him, he's always reliable. He's never going to turn in a bad performance.
Yeah, he's come a long way from Cheers, and he's turned into a really good actor.
Oh my God, yeah.
Well, I mean, you got to throw it. I think where he kind of really broke from that Cheers role was Natural Born Killers.
I knew you were going to say
Yes.
that.
Yeah. I mean, if you start talking Woody Harrelson and breaking a role, everyone goes to that one.
That was a career-defining role for him.
Yeah,
probably.
it was.
I
so
see we got a picture of
So we talked about Bill Murray and everything. I'm glad they worked him in. I was kind of curious how they were going to, because when I heard Bill Murray was going to be in Zombieland 2, I'm like, does he turn into a zombie? How's this working?
Yeah.
And of course, at the end, we find out it's a flashback to when it all started and stuff. So what the comedy moment that got me the most is seeing Al Roker turning into a zombie. That cracked me up. I did not. I could. I'm not gonna lie. I did not see this in the theater. I watched it, through streaming service and everything, and that caught me totally off guard because I either totally forgot or just didn't know. So, I mean, that was such a great comedic moment for me. What did you guys think of the whole interaction with Bill Murray and Al Roker?
I thought it was funny. The fact that, did Garfield even have a third movie?
I don't think
Was
so.
that the spoof?
No.
Okay.
No.
I didn't follow any of that, so I didn't know if that was real.
No, it wasn't. So I'm kind of embarrassed to say this. The last one they did was The Tale of Two Kitties and stuff, and that was the last one.
Yeah. They're trying to do the hairball.
Why did
sound.
you admit that?
Yeah.
Well, it was a valid point, though, the fact that
the title was a pun.
The title was a pun. Exactly.
I mean,
That's
I
what
thought
we're here
the
for, John,
fact that he
is
was
to
lampooning.
embarrass ourselves for our public.
Right. Well, and the thing I thought was great, you talked about the Al Roker thing when Bill Murray realizes that it's the zombie apocalypse and he starts, grabbing anything he can to kill him, and they start playing the Kenny Loggins song from Caddyshack. That's when I just lost it. I'm like, oh my God, it's the Caddyshack song.
Yeah.
I know, that was great. I love that scene. We got a few comments here.
Oh yeah,
Let's
we got a
catch up
bunch
on
here.
We got Jay that said that's a great fit for her in the role in Mandalorian, talking about Rosario Dawson. Wonder Midget, it will grow on you, geek boy. So
probably
in.
Yeah.
And then we've got the Wonder Midget. Bill Murray's a class act, and so those are the ones that we still have posted there. Let's see
Well,
if we see any others.
okay, so interesting story on that. When they wrote the script for the first Zombieland, they didn't know what celebrity they were going to get.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a very generic, sort of a placeholder part. At one point, they were trying to get Patrick Swayze. Another point, they were trying to get Mark Hamill. I mean, they ran the gamut of who they were going to get. And I never really heard how they finally landed Bill Murray.
Because drugs cost money.
Exactly right. So before we move on, is there any other comments we have about Zombieland? Anything?
Go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, I mean, I caught on to something, whenever Rosario Dawson, not Rosario Dawson. No.
Abigail?
Is it Rosario? Yeah, Rosario Dawson. Yeah. Was telling him about Bill Murray getting killed and calling it Murraying.
Oh yes, yes.
So I thought that was maybe like a throwback to the movie that both Bill Murray and Woody Harrelson did called Kingpin. And
give us a synopsis of that movie.
Well, it's Woody Harrelson's character is and Bill Murray's characters are like competitors in bowling. Woody Harrelson's character is like the young kid up and comer that gets to the top of his game and then like messes up bad. And in that movie, whenever you mess up bad and fall from grace and hit rock bottom, it's called being Munson, and that was Woody Harrelson's character's name. So I thought whenever they said Murraying, it was just kind of like a throwback to the Munson meme that they had started back then.
That's a hilarious point. I wonder if that was actually meant to, or if it was just a coincidence and stuff. But that's hilarious. I think I like it when they kind of tie movies in with stuff, especially when you have actors that have performed with other actors in different movies and kind of can throw in those little elements.
Yep.
I think that had to be something they worked up on set. It had to have been, in my personal opinion.
Yeah.
What do you guys think?
Absolutely.
Yeah. I think that.
I think when they do little stuff like that, that's when they really do hook the fans,
Right.
and the fans feel, or the fans appreciate it.
All right. Well, next, this is one of John's request to discuss, of course, is I Am Legend, Will Smith.
Yeah.
And I really don't think there's many more other actors in that other than Will Smith. And,
very few.
Very
a lot
few.
A lot of CGI, whatever they are.
CGI.
Well, and Bruce and I were talking about this, shortly before we went on the air. There's been a change of concept with the whole zombie thing, and I know that the Blues Man's watching. I know he's really into this kind of stuff, but I Am Legend, Zombieland, and I think World War Z, on film anyway. I'm not talking about the books. Were the first movies to depict zombies where they could run and like they weren't the sort of lumbering, the old joke was, the George Romero Night of the Living Dead zombies. If you get caught by them, it's kind of your own fault. It's
right.
It's kind of like getting caught by the Borg. It's like, dude, were you walking away? I mean, come on, But as Bruce pointed out, these aren't in these films. They're not zombies in the typical fashion. They're not the Walking Dead. They are people that are infected. They're infected with some kind of with a virus that mutates them into something. So truthfully, they're not what we grew up as kids.
Yeah, they're not reanimated dead.
Yeah, they're not, thank you. I'm kind of stumbling over that. So, but yeah, and that was a really good point. Is that because the Walking Dead, and I know that the Blues Man's watching. So if I'm misspeaking, I definitely want him to. Whoa, are we still here? We on?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Okay, all right. We look like I lost you guys for a second. So I apologize.
No problems.
It's the Acropolis. The Acropolis.
Exactly. And so again, we
when the Acropolis happens,
when
it hits the fan.
When the Acropolis happens, you never know what's going to happen. So anyway, I just think it's really interesting that those types of things, that the reanimated dead, that's what we looked at. That's how kind of what we thought were zombies, when we were growing up. And now they've kind of reinvented what the concept of a zombie is for a modern audience.
I'm gonna ask here, who here can remember the earliest show that we may have watched that had a zombie?
Ooh, pick me.
John. John.
Kolchak the Night Stalker.
Oh, that was a straight up
the zombie.
voodoo style zombie.
Yes.
And when that thing opened his eyes and he's trying to sew its mouth shut.
Oh god dang, man.
Yeah.
I was watching that at Halloween and it still scared me to this day.
So the first one that I watched was George Romero's Day of the Dead. And I watched that, I think it was on like one of the satellite channels or something like that. And I was like 14 or 15 or something like that. And it was the goriest zombie movie that I'd ever seen.
Yeah.
And I actually went back and looked at some trivia about this. And when the movie came out, it was rated X in the movie theaters.
Yeah. Really?
It was the most graphic horror movie that was ever released at the time.
Wow, that's awesome.
So
that's some good news.
Because the ending scene was pretty visceral how they took apart some of the people on there. But ever since then, that had me hooked on zombie films. So
really, well.
Yeah.
And again, here's my social commentary take on it. The zombie.
Let me interrupt and catch some people up real quick.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
They've been streaming in, so I want to get them in there. So, Wendy posted for the Queen that she says "We done" #We done because ever since this movie, when basically Will Smith had to kill the dog, Cindy has just been totally anti Will Smith. So,
oh my gosh!
Spoiler alert: if you're a dog lover or a CGI dog lover, you don't want Will Smith killing a dog. So Laura Finley, you're on. So with that comment, but Wonder Midget came back. BB showed me the Night of the Living Dead, and then Day of the Dead. Ooh, good one, my friend. So just catching up and everything like that. So anyway, you were saying, John. Sorry.
No, that's fine because a lot of these comments kind of bleed into that. There's a lot of elements to zombie movies from a social commentary standpoint, and all these post-apocalyptic films, and we're going to talk about some other things too. They kind of bleed into our current situation, no pun intended with the word bleed. But, part of a zombie film, especially if you're one of the survivors, is kind of wish fulfillment. You've got the whole city to yourself. You've got all these things, and you can do whatever, like he is, like the picture there you've got there from I Am Legend. He's hitting golf balls off an aircraft carrier in New York. He's driving a Mustang. He's driving a Mustang, hunting deer out of the driver's side with a machine gun.
Right.
That's wish fulfillment. But the other thing that bleeds into is, as human beings, we need connection. We need to be social. You know, we need that interaction. And
the point is, you remember he would talk to the mannequins he had
yes.
staged in the video store that, you know, and there was even a point where he was trying to look like he was going to hit on one of them and everything. Right. It was such an interesting statement, and you bringing it up is a great point.
And I've heard about POWs that do the same type of thing, that will basically play little games for themselves like that to basically keep their mind sharp. And I think it speaks to the fact that the wish fulfillment part of the zombie apocalypse only goes so far.
Right, it can only last so long, and you can only do so much before it's like
reality sets in.
This really isn't fun anymore. Yeah, reality sets in. James, my first zombie movie was watching the 1968 Night of the Living Dead.
Oh.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Gonna get you,
Barbara. So you're ignorant.
You know, it's not
great
typical,
movie though.
It's hard to classify it, but I remember as a kid over at my uncle's house, and if you think about it, the Mummy is, I would think, almost a zombie of some sort.
Reanimated, reanimated dead, yep.
So my first movie was the black and white, I believe it was The Mummy versus the Werewolf,
the old Universal.
Oh wow!
Oh yeah,
the black and white. Yeah. It was on.
God, I wish they would relaunch that.
Yeah. You know, it had to turn the knob to get it tuned in and everything. With the banana, you know, the rabbit ears and everything. It was just, and I remember watching that, and that was pretty much my first zombie movie, I would say, with the Mummy. So. So Jay Pyatt came back. I was so hooked after that point. Well, and we all know the blues man. He loves him some zombie movies.
Yes, he does. And point of trivia, and blues man probably knows this, I think Night of the Living Dead was maybe the first ever midnight movie.
Yeah.
It was the first one to be picked up and distributed that way.
Well, kind of talking about the zombies, that was something that I had a problem with on this movie, is that these zombie characters just looked way too CGI for me. I mean, I understand what they were trying to go for here, but if you've seen some of the behind-the-scenes productions, there's a lot of green-suited people posing for what would be a CGI over them and everything, and I think that's one element of the movie that just didn't work for me in that whole aspect.
Well, so, if you think about it, I mean, they are stronger and faster.
Yes.
Than a human, so that you can't really have a bunch of humans dressed up trying to move like them if they're supposed to be that much quicker. You know what I mean? So I understand why they went CGI.
Mm-hmm. I got it. They just look too glossy to me. If I remember, they had to stay in the dark. They couldn't be exposed to direct sunlight or ultraviolet light.
Right. Were you going to bring that up?
Yeah.
Okay, you go ahead.
Well, because one of the things that I found was so confusing about I Am Legend is anyone who's familiar with the source material, the book, the original book, and then the first two versions of it, the original I Am Legend with Vincent Price, is that right?
Yes.
And then the one with Charlton Heston, which was Omega Man. In both of those, in all three of those original takes on it, they were vampires. And so when I'm watching,
well, no. Vincent Price was vampires. The Omega Man, they were a ghoul,
of some kind,
that can't be in the sun. Yes.
But I kept thinking, and I think in the book they're vampires.
Okay.
And so I kept thinking of the first 2/3 of the movie. I'm like, okay, they're vampires. I'm like, wait a minute, these don't look like vampire. So I guess the one thing that kind of jerked me out of the movie was I was never really sure what the hell they were supposed to be. Honestly,
right.
I think this visual is maybe a throwback to the Omega Man's.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Infected or whatever you want to call them.
So we had a couple more. Wonder Midget. I would agree with IT Geek about the Mummy being a zombie-esque movie, but Jay disagrees.
Uh-oh.
That doesn't count. The Mummy was not a zombie, quote, zombie movie. So,
okay, so, all right, so I guess what makes a zombie movie then?
So my thought process is with the Mummy, a lot of times the Mummy is able to do supernatural things, so it seems less like a zombie versus like a lich, which is an undead sorcerer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Good point.
Well, okay, so the original term for zombie is a Haitian word, which means brought back to life through magic. So that would actually meet more of a mummy's reanimation process.
On here. I would like to hear his debate.
I know.
That's a good point.
So I mean, probably the mummy and zombie are probably pretty close because magic is involved. Right. It's not some sort of virus or chemical or something.
And we typically associate the mummy with a Middle Eastern type culture, like the pharaohs and all. So that's probably the biggest delineation I have is the Mummy has all that Egyptian lore tied to it, whereas zombies are kind of an all good old all American Michael Jackson Thriller type.
That's the American zombie.
American zombies are American.
Well, like voodoo zombies were reanimated to be servants and slaves.
Right.
Mummies were basically woken up, Imhotep. The court magicians and stuff. Yeah, like Tarek said.
I think you're making a case with Jay here.
Yeah, so Wonder Midget came back exactly magic, and Jay's like, okay, Tarek, and Bruce are spot on. So you swayed Jay.
That's
kudos
impressive.
to you guys.
That is impressive.
So one thing that I really, I saw I Am Legend, but then I bought it, and then there's a alternate ending that I enjoy way much more than what we got, and I think you even see this version on like TBS on TV and stuff whenever they show it, and it's more of this scene where basically throughout the movie there's a theme of a butterfly being like a symbol of hope, symbol of like things are going to get better, and towards the end, if you haven't seen this, spoiler alert, Will Smith's character actually discovers the cure, injects it, and the patient he has a butterfly tattoo. If you know the show, basically he's about to be overrun. They crack the window, and this other butterfly symbol appears, and it seems to be the significance of basically that this is going to be, everything's going to work out, everything's going to be fine. And I'm probably not selling it as well as it appears on screen, but I really like the alternate ending version better than what we got. So if in the version that was put out, basically, Will Smith shows that there is a cure, but in order to save himself and to save his patrons, he gives them the cure, gets them out another way, and basically blows up his house with the whatever ones that are invading, and allows the other people to go free and stuff. So, I guess I got to ask, has anyone seen either one of those versions and have any input on that? Or am I one of the ones that have only seen both those sides?
I have seen both versions. I like them both. I think they both work, if you will. I understand why they went for the more action-packed ending for an American audience, because it's my understanding that ending with the butterfly symbolism, it played everywhere but America. It played over in Europe, played over in France, and they loved it. That's of course back when we had movie theaters open.
Exactly. Back in the day. We should state that because when this is watched later in the apocalypse and people are seeing these videos, they can understand what was truly going on.
But to me, they both work. I think the alternate ending. I'm assuming we're talking about the one that people are less familiar with is the alternate ending.
Correct. I
think it plays better into the themes of the film. But I think the other one gives you that sort of nihilistic release that you're waiting for. That like the Queen said, ever since he killed the dog, you've been waiting on a big nihilistic release of some kind. Yeah. And that kind of gives it to you. So to me, they both work. It's just a matter of people's taste, I think.
Right. You got anything?
The one that has the butterfly crack in the glass, that's the only one I can seem to remember. And to me, I liked it because it told him that, yes, everything is going to be okay, but in order for it to be okay, it's his time to sacrifice.
Right.
So he had to be the one to hold the Reapers, or what were they called?
I don't even think
the race or something like that, the Night Walkers or whatever. He had to hold them back long enough so the lady and the kid can get out with the antidote. So, I thought that was really poignant.
They also had to have that closure because his wife and daughter were also killed in the movie and stuff. So it's like, how could he go on and stuff? So Tarek, you got anything that you want to add as well? Or?
Yeah, I agree with Bruce. This self-sacrificing portion of it was just very it was almost like closing a loop essentially for the whole process.
Yeah, good way to put it.
Yeah, it's a great way to put it.
The script put them in that box, literally in that little room, and there was not everyone's getting out of this.
Right.
So yeah.
So Jay just timed. he just chimed in that you guys haven't talked about 28 Days Later yet. Well, Jay, we were kind of going over what movies we wanted to talk about, and we've done Zombieland, we've done I Am Legend, and we're gonna probably jump back a little further with our next one, and we're gonna go with Outbreak. So when you talk about a virus-themed movie released into it that may be a little bit closer to what's going on today, you can't say anything more about Outbreak. So. John, we'll let you kick us off there.
Okay, so funny story about Outbreak. As I believe, as I mentioned a few weeks ago when we were reviewing another movie, when Outbreak opened the same week as another movie that is near and dear to my heart. But I wanted to see Outbreak because it looked cool, man. I really was trying to be. That's when I was in my snobbish movie phase. Okay, I like to see films that were about something, at that point in time. I thank God I've gotten off that kick. Anyway, and this had Duff Hoffman and Morgan Freeman and Donald saying I wanted to go see Outbreak, and Outbreak was sold out when we went to the theater. So we went to see another movie that I always thought looked good, or that I thought would be entertaining, but I didn't want to see it that night. I didn't want to see it. We ended up having to see Bad Boys, and thank God we saw that. We're still. How many times have I watched Outbreak versus how many times I've watched Bad Boys, in the last 30 years.
Yeah.
But honestly, that movie to me is so realistic. It depicts an out, if you will, very realistically. And I like how it tackles it from all sides. It tackles it from the ground level of the people that are infected. It tackles it from the CDC people that are trying to get a handle on it, figure out what it is, how to control it. Tackles it from the military standpoint, from a political standpoint. I mean, one of the scenes that I remember really vividly is when I believe it's the president's chief of staff has all the cabinet assembled, and they're talking about dropping that fuel air bomb on the town to basically incinerate it, and he throws the pictures.
He throws the Constitution on the table.
Yeah, that's right. And he says, "What if we do this?" I'm paraphrasing, but it cut me to the bone. He's like, we all agree to do this. He goes, there's not going to be one of you sons of bitches that goes on CNN that talks about how you were the lone dissenting voice. We all, basically, we either hang together, we will surely hang separately for this one. And Donald Sutherland has, my poor man, he coming off his portrayal of Mr. X is like, that guy will never play like someone's dad.
Yeah.
Forever.
That's one of the reasons why I liked it, because it hit the government conspiracy and cover up points that I like in the movie. Yeah. So
but I guess it was the realism.
Yeah.
And okay, so
it was not far fetched.
No, it was not. I ain't gonna lie. Being military, and I know we got plenty of military people in our group and stuff. I'm telling you right now, that operation was almost like textbook from what I know. And,
go ahead, say it. Sorry.
No, I was just gonna say. So I mean, seeing that movie, and then I never experienced anything like that
except now.
Exactly.
Well,
but I mean, the way the deployed into the town to secure it. The launching of the aircraft. I mean, the way that they were moving around when Dustin Hoffman was trying to secure transport and everything and trying to get clearance. It was just so real to kind of see that play out. I'm like, man, I literally felt like I was in the military watching that movie. Before we go any further, we got a couple of comments here. So basically back to John's comment about the movies, Bad Boys and stuff. So Geek Boy got a job at a movie theater, so he would never again miss a movie due to being sold out.
Damn right.
Stephanie Hines you still are a movie snob. Jade
what?
Came out. Outbreak is a great movie, but it just killed people. Very sad. 28 Days Later, and them all go insane and kill others.
It goes back to the crazies.
Similar things with it. 28 Days Later, they also had a monkey that caused the outbreak as well.
Well, John, you brought up all those great actors and stuff, and we got to bring up one actor that you forgot to leave off, and that is Marcel from Friends. Made his first movie role, and I'm surprised he didn't win an Oscar. So there he is with his
with his co-star Cuba Gooding Jr.
Yeah, you know, his supporting actor there, and so. As for the Wendy Joes out there, you know, got their little friends.
Well, and he was pretty much the same character in both shows.
Yeah, that's
he
right.
was just a crazy little monkey.
Well, and so
I
got one more thing to add about Outbreak, and then I'm done with it. But so, as everyone remembers, you know, it could spread through contact of bodily fluids.
Right.
There's a scene in the movie where the patient zero basically is coughing in the movie theater. Yeah, McDreamy. He's coughing, and the camera zooms in on his saliva as it scatters out toward the
sneeze.
Yeah, it's either a sneeze or a cough. I can't remember which one. Right. Anyway, he does it, and this was in the to me, this is a great use of CGI back in the day when it was still in its infancy. But you saw those particles scatter about and land on random people in the theater. Well, we're watching this, and I swear to God, not 2 minutes after this scene, about 3 rows back here, and the whole theater just stops and turns around and looks up, and the guy's like, "Sorry, dude." You know, it's like, I mean, it's like sneezing walking into a Walmart today. You know, it's like patient zero here. It's crazy.
Patient zero, yep. Lock him down, throw him in the Ziploc bag.
2319.
Security.
Yeah. Andromeda strain.
Man, that is so true. That is hilarious. I understand. That scene is when the spreading. It's you're right. The CGI right back then was nowhere where it is today. But that scene is so powerful about that, and especially with today's elements, you see that scene, you're like, oh crap. So I'm like,
hey, Dwayne's here. Dwayne's in the chat.
Yep. Dwayne's joined us. Wendy Jo came back. Marcel's name is Katie.
Oh.
So we all know. So, and you know, just let you know, Katie the monkey.
Katie the monkey.
Is her. You know, Marcel was just the stage name. You know.
Oh, you shattered my illusion.
Had surprisingly few credits on IMDb.
It's amazing.
It's his agent. He needs a new agent. She needs a new agent.
She needs a new agent. Yeah. Well, I hear she's pretty selective in the roles she chooses.
That could be.
So,
that could be.
Only looking for quality.
Well, and she must have turned down anything the last Star Wars trilogy.
No, she was the giant snake in Rise of Skywalker. You know, she was really trying to stretch her legs there on that.
I see that.
So speaking of monkeys, let's go into this one. 12 monkeys.
See what you did there? That's good.
See, yeah, I'm not a total dumbass. I can do it. I can string some stuff together. So anyway. Talk about 12 Monkeys. I mean, I remember this movie and sitting in the theater and just be like, what the hell is going on?
Yeah.
And their time travel machine was just like, I don't buy it, but still the movie was so engrossing.
It's Terry Gilliam. It's pure Terry Gilliam, goofy, off-the-wall production design.
It's almost something like right out of a Fallout video game and stuff like that. So I know you guys aren't much gamers and stuff over there, but you know it just this whole like desolate area, wearing these suits to get from one spot to another, and then just going back to these underground bunkers to survive and live in. It's just like wow, and you know Bruce Willis I think gives a spectacular performance in it. But the thing that got me was Brad Pitt.
That was the first film where I thought, "Oh my God, this guy can really act."
Yes.
I mean, seriously, I'm not. I mean, I just considered him to be a Hollywood pretty boy until I saw this movie.
Yep.
I think he was just coming off Legends of the Fall.
Was it Legends of the Fall?
I think Legends of the Fall was just before this, so everybody was all a swoon. So he needed something to break that.
People were like, I'm quite sure that really took him. See, even Pistol thinks like that. It's crazy. Crazy.
Now, apparently, the Blues Man was not a big fan of it. He didn't think it was a great
an okay movie. So, I wish he could comment a little bit more on that. So, I wonder what he didn't like about it and stuff. I mean,
I will say this: I thought it was a strange. I thought the cast was a very interesting choice. The whole film was cast very not badly, but I like that. This is not a movie I associate with Bruce Willis, at least not at this time. Yeah. And same thing with Brad Pitt, Madeline Stowe. Okay, fine, But everybody else in this film, it just seemed like, wow. I mean, and you got Frank Gorshin, the old guy from played the Riddler, and the old Batman as the psychiatrist. You know, and then it's just such a strange, eclectic mix of characters. You know, enhanced with that bizarre Terry Gilliam production design and made with his sensibilities. This is a movie to me that shouldn't work, but it does. And maybe that's why Jay thinks it's okay. It's not. It's kind of it's not for everybody. But for me, the opening scene, the opening credits has this counter-turning graphic of monkeys, and they're playing this sort of off-key, minor key organ grinder type stuff. From the second those notes hit, my stomach got this weird feeling in it, and it never let up through the whole film. And that's that's why I've always enjoyed 12 Monkeys.
It's probably Terry Gilliam's filming style and stuff, but everybody just looked a little off.
Yeah.
You know, I don't even know how to describe it better. It's just a weird view when watching this movie that just kind of like keeps you kind of with that head cocked and like, what's going on? And that was my feeling for it and stuff. So.
Well, and like, you know, and only like there's a scene, and again, this is pre-Walking Dead, any of the, you know, this was apart from like prior to this, apocalyptic movies were Mad Max. You know, or everything was out in the desert.
Yeah, you were dealing with the survivors.
Yeah,
you were having to fight other survivors and stuff. So
and so when he's up there and up top and he's taking the plant samples and like a tiger walks by, you're like, what? Like, oh yeah, because they got out of the zoo. Yeah. You know, they're out of the zoo. They're roaming free now. There's like just stuff like that. That's just you don't think about that a normal person doesn't think about. I guess that they just little punch.
That was a great. I agree. That was a great element that, you know, that was adding a little realism that, like, no one's there to take care of these animals, so of course they're going to find a way to get out to survive. And so they're just wandering about, and, you know, they kind of do that with I Am Legend, where basically the wildlife's starting to come in. That's why he's hunting deer in the city.
Right.
I mean, in Manhattan, you know, there's not a lot of wildlife there other than the park, and, they don't bring deer into that. So yeah, like 12 Monkeys, it worked for me. I enjoyed it. Wonder Midget came in and said, Bruce, I didn't care for Bruce so much, but Brad made this movie for us. And then Jay responded, it was very predictable and just okay. Brad Pitt was a star. So it seems like we kind of agree that this was a great role for Brad Pitt that kind of kicked him off, especially after what Bruce Star said, is that it's right after he came out of the Legends of the Fallen. It was definitely a totally, you know, 180 from what he was kind of known for, is that pretty boy, you know, rough and tumble kind of guy, and now he's this crazy weirdo.
But the funny thing is, like I've seen him do, you know, play off-kilter characters in a lot of movies since then, and I can see bits and pieces of that performance in that. So
there's a lot of Tyler Durden in there.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah. But at the time, no one
great...
ever seen him do that.
Yeah.
You know, so it was very fresh. So.
Yeah. So kind of talking about Brad Pitt, let's just go into our final.
Oh, they did it again.
He did it again. Look at him go! Wow. You must. Hey, you know what slides are coming up next?
Man, I'm telling you, I got skills.
Got some mad skills, man.
So I remember seeing this movie when I was actually on a business trip in Denver, and I didn't really know what to expect out of it. I enjoyed it, but from what Terry tells me of Bruce Star, and I think even you, John, said the movie is totally different from the book. Is this correct?
Yeah, so the book is very different. It's basically about a journalist that interviews different people during their experiences during the zombie apocalypse. And if you listen to the audiobook, it actually has different celebrities narrate parts. So Common narrates the portion where they talked about the dog unit that dealt with zombies. Mark Hamill does a portion where he narrates his version of being on the front lines of battle with the zombies. The waves kept coming and coming and coming. So it was very interesting to hear the book, and then the movie was just basically about Brad Pitt's character through his whole experience through that.
Right. The only thing the only thing that is the same is the name of the character Jerry that Brad Pitt plays is also the name of the guy doing the interviewing in the book.
Oh, okay. So I do understand that another big element in the book is that at the end, Jerry does return, but his wife has assumed he's dead and is remarried now, and I believe is this correct, or am I thinking of a different book?
I don't remember that part.
Okay, so I could be totally wrong. I was thinking that I'd heard that this was the story, but could be totally wrong. So I would say that one thing I really enjoyed about this movie is the zombie character or the infected characters and everything on how well they looked, and the performance. No, I wouldn't say the performance. I don't know. It seemed more real to me of the possibility of this happening. What are your guys' thought when you saw the movie? I mean, not comparing to the book, but just in general the movie. What was your takes of it?
Go ahead, Bruce. You want to?
Well, in the movie, the zombies are much different. In the book, the zombies are more like the Walking Dead zombies.
Oh, really?
These are infected people, and they're infected with a virus that kind of gives them that hive mind. Well, not necessarily hive mind, but they just have this one underlying need to spread the virus. That's why they're always biting people.
Okay.
It kind of made some kind of sense in as far as a believability. It did. Especially with that scene where they're all climbing on top of each other to get over the fence.
To me, that was chilling.
Well, that reminded me of ants. And then, since that movie's come out, I found out that there is a fungus. It's called something cordyceps or something like that. That it actually will take over an ant and make an ant climb to a point on a stalk of grass, to where the fungus itself could grow more and spread pollen to infect other ants.
Really?
So there's a real life correlation to something in nature now that does that to something, to a host. So that makes it a little bit more chilling, but still, I thought the graphics were good, the story was good. I thought Brad Pitt played that character really well, even though it wasn't like the book. That was my only major beef, but otherwise it was pretty good. The scenes when they were in that base in South Korea dealing with the soldiers that were hunkered down there.
Oh my gosh,
it was really good. Yeah. So yeah, I gave it a 4 out of 5.
Oh, did you really?
Yeah, I liked it that much, even though it wasn't the book.
Right.
It was still a good movie.
Well, I knew that they'd altered I had not read the book. That movie had been in development hell for a long time. Yeah. They had a lot of different screenwriters take a pass. I think at one point even J. Michael Straczynski took a pass at it. But I think they basically came up with the solution of keep as many encounters from the book as possible, but weave them instead of having, basically weave them into around one narrative. And the scene of the zombies or whatever you want to call them trying to climb up each other, that was chilling. And then I guess there was there were some test screenings that didn't go well, and so they essentially rewrote the entire last third of the film. They reshot the entire last third. And boy, whenever you hear stuff like that, you go, "Oh my gosh!" I'll be damned. That's the best part of the movie for me.
So that is the best part when Brad Pitt. I guess that's a question. So in the book, is it similar that the zombies don't want to bite people that are ill or sick or something like that, or does it have to be a healthy host? Or
no, it was just anything that they can get.
Anybody was fair game.
Yeah, everybody was fair game.
The neat thing in the book was there was a description of a battle that took, and I think it was the Battle of Brooklyn or the Battle of Queens or something like that, where the army engaged the infected that had taken over New York City with their normal doctrine, their normal warfighting doctrine, their normal weapons, and the infected. I'm not even going to call them zombies because they're not even zombies. The infected overran the soldiers. And because none of their tactics and weapons worked against them, because you shoot them in the chest, they still come. Explosions don't affect them like they do a live human or a regular human, rather. Well, in the book they were zombies, so yeah, they weren't technically alive, I suppose. But in the book they described how the soldiers were wearing body armor and cameras, and that people back at the command center were watching the zombies eat the soldiers through the cameras on their chest.
Oh my God!
Oh, wow.
So they had to retool everything they did, and they went from using M4s and fully automatic to single shot 22 rifles with bolt action magazine and scopes, because a well thought out head play shot, one shot, one kill, you can put them down and shoot the next one. Right. But yeah, anyway.
And that's exactly the part that Mark Hamill was narrating in the audio.
Oh, okay, yeah.
The whole thing.
Very
so
cool.
it was a very interesting point.
See, and another little tidbit is the guy who wrote it, Max Brooks, is Mel Brooks' son.
Yes, that is
Oh,
correct.
hey, that's cool.
And since this book's come out, he's come out with like 2 or 3 other Contagion-style stories. And I don't know if they're meant to dovetail into this one or if they're separate standalones. I haven't checked into them yet.
Oh, okay. Well, so like we were saying, like John was saying, the last like 15, 20 minutes of this movie was just like one of the most bone chilling for me in the whole thing is when Brad Pitt has to go and just guess at what he gives himself to infect him and to find out if it's even going to work, let alone is it curable, and then having to walk through all these zombies to see if he's ignored. And as you can see in our picture there, the fact that he's like camouflaged because of his infection, everything from the infected. And so one of the funniest scenes, and Bruce, we were talking about this earlier, is that he stops and has that Pepsi and just hears that crack set open. And it kind of even throws a little bit back to what John's saying, is the whole like survival mode is that, you take that opportunity to enjoy something. And it just, to me, ever since he was on the run, he never got a chance to stop and slow down to enjoy anything. And once he kind of realized that he was good to go, he stopped and he had that Pepsi, and it was just like enjoying the little things, kind
That was
of going
his
back
Twinkie.
to the rules.
Yeah, that was his
Sometimes
Twinkie.
you got to stop and enjoy the little things.
Found his. See, look, we wrapped that up. See how we circled that back around there?
You like that?
Thematics. Thematics, baby. Writers of Star Trek, Picard, and Discovery, please pay attention.
Well, you'll get a chance to talk about that next week, John.
Oh,
we'll
yeah.
be talking about that. So before we wrap up, we're talking about, movie hell. There is supposed to be a World War Z 2, but at this point, I don't think there's any details about it that anyone has anything.
The only thing I heard was that at one point David Fincher was attached to direct it, but he left to go make another season of Mindhunter. So
Well, we know we're not getting Mindhunter 3 now.
I know, so I don't know what we're getting.
I
I
don't
don't know
know.
what's going on there.
So unless anyone has anything on
David
those
Fincher would be an
details.
odd choice to do a movie like that.
Yeah. So, all right, guys. Well, I think if there's nothing else, we're going to wrap it up. I think we got it all in, and hopefully
Actually,
we
I
made this
have one thing I'd like to close with, buddy. If I
Okay,
could.
cool.
Hopefully, the phone has down to like 3% power, so hopefully this doesn't crap out while I'm reading it. This is a post that gave me hope. We always like to be positive and funny. I'm not going to read who posted it, but it's someone that my wife follows on Facebook, and it says, "The reports are that the truckers are getting supplies to the stores. People are stocking the shelves all night and letting old people shop first. Carnival Cruise Line told Trump we can match these big Navy hospital ships with some fully staffed cruise ships. GM said, hold our cars and watch this. We can make those ventilators where we were making cars. Women and children are making homemade masks and handing out our snacks to truckers. Restaurants and schools said, we got kitchens, staff, we can feed the kids. Churches are holding on the services and taking care of the members. NBA basketball players are saying, hold our basketballs. We can write checks to pay the arena staff. Construction companies said, here are some masks for medical staff and doctors. Breweries are making sanitizer out of leftover ingredients. We thought we couldn't live without baseball, NASCAR, NBA, or going to the beach, restaurants, or a bar. Instead, we're trying to keep those businesses open by ordering takeout. What communist China didn't count on was America saying, here, hold my beer and watch this. I think a Japanese admiral in the middle of the Pacific Ocean said it best in 1941, I think we've awakened a sleeping giant. Give us a few more weeks, maybe a month, and we'll be doing much better, and stop listening to the hysterical media. Sharing this from another Facebook friend, we have a wonderful country and amazing people in it, and I want everybody, hey, hold our beer, guys. Watch what we're really capable of.
Bruce, you got anybody? That's a great comment. Bruce, you got any parting? He kind of, showed us up, so I don't know how we can follow anything after
Yeah, that was. I'm just gonna follow it up with this. I'm gonna flash this at the camera real quick, and just remember that we're all essential. I don't know if you can see it or not.
If we can't, what is that?
It's that kid from Meet the Millers that's got the tattoo across his.
Yeah.
No regrets, but it says essential.
Yeah, essential. Yeah, I saw that one. That's great. Tarek, you got any?
No, I don't have anything to add.
All right. Well, John, you said it best there. You wrapped everything up. Everyone's essential out there. Our prayers, our hopes that if you're having to be involved in this and having to provide aid to those who are infected, or if you have loved ones that are battling this, our prayers go out to you guys. Hopefully you found this entertaining tonight. There was no ill spirit here. We just want to come on here and have some fun, talk about things we love. Hopefully you get to join in with this. So from the Fanboys 918, we thank you guys for tuning in, and we will see you next week.
That's right.